Miss Universe, the Bahamas.
As a Bahamian whose favorite seafood is grouper, my message to you is simple. Because Nassau grouper are critically endangered, we risk forever losing them if we do not work together to protect them. If you are a fisher, don't catch Nassau grouper during the close season from December 1st to February 28th. For seafood lovers like myself, join me in enjoying other fish like lionfish, jacks, or mahi-mahi, especially during the close season. And all year, remember, don't catch, sell, or buy any grouper under 3 pounds.
The ZNS community page now has its own home on Channel 230. Be sure to tune into this channel to see informative notices, funeral announcements, birthday greetings, and much, much more. So watch the ZNS community channel today on Cable 230.
You're watching the ZNS Network, the People's Station.
Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, the National Report, gunned down on bail for murder. Optimism grows in agriculture. The somber journey back home. And in sports, Mingos and Atlantis square off. The Bahamas tonight, the National Report starts now.
ZNS News is brought to you by the new BTC. Fiber is here. Faster, stronger, more reliable. Together, we are unstoppable. Switch today.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Akush Lapinder, and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. Thanks for tuning in. The body of former parliamentarian Obadiah Wilchcombe is in Grand Bahama this evening following his state funeral and committal service here in the capital on Thursday. Our Devontae Hanna picks up the story from here.
A stately send-off at Christchurch Cathedral yesterday for the late Obadiah Wilchcombe tugged at the emotions of thousands across the country, just hours before his body was transported to the nation's second city. This morning, as dusk turned to dawn, his remains were transported on a Western Air flight at 7 after being moved from Cedar Crest Funeral Home, parading for the last time through the streets of the capital and later to the airport. Wilchcombe died during the early morning hours on September 25th on Grand Bahama, the island he called home, the place he represented in the House of Assembly for nearly 20 years as a Member of Parliament for West Grand Bahama and Bimini. With more than 4 decades in public life as both a journalist and a politician, the country mourned the fallen minister in a state funeral and a procession that brought Bay Street to life as hundreds of onlookers watched in disbelief of the passing of a senior member in the Daves administration, a faithful public servant, a father, and a friend. Tonight, he will be memorialized once more with a funeral to be held at 10 on Saturday morning at Christ the King, Grand Bahama. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Devontae Hanna.
All tonight's supporters, family, and friends are reflecting on Obie Wilchcombe's legacy at a memorial on Grand Bahama. Our Jay Philippe joins us live.
Well, the body of the late Honorable Obi Hercules Wilchcombe, the Member of Parliament for West, Grand Bahama, and Bimini, arrived on Grand Bahama this morning. Many supporters had the opportunity to view the body at the police headquarters in the downtown area. Now, what we do know is that the memorial is being held at the Bishop Michael Eldon High School Auditorium, where many persons are here to celebrate the life of Obi Wilchcombe. A number of tributes will be done, beginning with an opening song and opening prayer by Reverend Kenneth Lewis, who's the president of the Grand Bahama Christian Council. There will also be a praise and worship session done by New Life Worship Praise Team. Special tributes will be done by artist Neely from West Grand Bahama and Bimini, followed by Miss Kenise Williams from Bimini. Now, the Grand Bahama Urban Renewal Community Children's Choir will also pay a tribute. Peter Adley, a friend of the late Honorable Obadiah Wilchcombe, will also pay a tribute. He's the president of Creative Works. He'll be followed by Mr. Kirk Hollinsworth with a tribute as well, too, followed by Mr. Shane Gibson, former parliamentarian and former cabinet minister. Also coming along to do a selection would be the Cooling Waters, Mr. George Reach, former member of parliament for West End and Bimini. The Honorable Ginger Moxie, Minister for Grammar, will pay some remarks, and the Honorable Chester Cooper, member of parliament, acting prime minister and minister of tourism and investment and aviation of the Bahamas, will also pay tribute at this memorial held at Bishop Michael Eldon High School. Now, the memorial did get off to a late start because of some rain throughout the course of the day, but we'll be at the entire evening to cover the memorial of the late Obadiah Wilchcombe. Now, again, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning will be the funeral arrangements for Obi Wilchcombe at Christ the King Church, followed by a motorcade leading into West Grand Bahama, Holmes Rock area, 8 Mile Rock, where his body will be laid to rest in West End at the West End Public Cemetery. Back to you guys in studio.
Well, thanks, Jay. Now, earlier today, Wilchcombe's body was lying in state, this time in Grand Bahama. For that angle, we turn now to our Raven Davis.
A solemn gathering taking place here at the Gerald A. Bartlett complex. Relatives of the late Honorable Obi Wilchcombe arriving here at around 9:45 a.m., later followed by senior government officials and other persons from the relevant ministries who have queued up to sign the book of condolences for the late minister. Now his body lay just inside, accompanied by members of the armed forces. Minister for Grand Bahama, the Honorable Ginger Moxie, reflecting on the connection she shared with her former colleague.
Well, it wasn't just friendship. We were actually family. The Smith-Wilchcombe clan. It's a devastating loss for the entire Bahamas. He was the consummate nation builder, activist, and someone who really cared.
Senators Jane Turner and Kirkland Russell saying that Minister Wilchcombe dedicated himself entirely to others, a testament to a life lived without reserve.
This is not the kind of blow that you're ever really prepared for. And when I reflect on the fact that he is now gone, it tells us that God reminds us that we ought to do what we can while we can do it.
Minister Wilchcombe died exactly as God intended for all of us to die, and that is empty. Minister shared whatever he had with any and everybody who was in need.
Now, a funeral service for Minister Wilchcombe will be held on Grand Bahama on Saturday, October 14, after which he will meet his final resting place next to his father in his beloved community of West End. For the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, I'm Raven Davis.
Thanks, Raven. And this programming note, be sure to join the ZNS Network for a live coverage of the final motorcade and interment service for the late Minister of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting, and Member of Parliament for West Grand Bahama and Bimini, Obadiah Wilchcombe. Coverage begins 2 p.m. tomorrow. That's Saturday, October 14th. Interment will be at the West End Cemetery. Still to come, better staff morale at BPL. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. There's more news in a moment.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Folk Call Smart Pass, the smart way to pay at the pump.
Welcome to a world where hope is still loud, where dreams are still relevant and determination has no substitute. Welcome to a nation where the people are still warm, resilient, and innovative. And Commonwealth Bank is at the center of it all, giving innovation and progress an extra push for more than 60 years. We're here for Bahamians because we are Bahamian. Commonwealth Bank, your leader in personal banking services.
Since they were on sale, Monique couldn't resist things she didn't need. And neither did Bruno. Hungry for deals? You better come and satisfy that hunger for only $20 at KFC before doing something crazy. Get 8 pieces of juicy, fresh, in-store prepared KFC fried chicken and hot golden fries for only $20. A finger-licking good deal.
Each day is special when you save at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets. Sawyer's mayonnaise, 30-ounce, $2.99. Campbell's Chunky Soups, 19-ounce, $3.19. Fresh tomatoes, $1.99 per pound. Amalanda milk, 1 liter, 2 for $2.50. Danish spare ribs, $2.79 per pound. October's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Together, we can make a difference. Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
My business couldn't survive without my credit card machine from Fidelity.
It's fast, convenient, and my clients love it.
My sales increase, and I can track my earnings.
Get your credit card machine from Fidelity today.
Call 356-7764.
The shrill sounds of gunshots piercing the early morning quiet of the Chippenham community, where police were called to the scene of a murder sometime around 6 a.m. It's just one in a number of tragic incidents to occur in just a week, leaving those that live there on edge. Anthony Smith fills us in with the details.
The feeling of trauma was palpable. You could almost touch it.
That heightened concern following 3 homicides in 1 week alone here in the area of Chippenham. The latest incident occurring here on Tyler Street and Boyd Road, where police say a man in his 40s was shot and killed.
Our initial reports indicate the victim was attempting to access his vehicle when the occupants of a black Nissan Note pulled alongside him and opened fire on the victim, hitting him multiple times. The victim was examined by personnel from EMS, who found no signs of life.
Authorities say the victim was known to police on bail for a murder dating back to 2015. The deceased, the second to be gunned down in the Chippenham area within 24 hours. A man in his 20s falling victim to a similar fate on Baldwin Avenue on October 12th. A 52-year-old man stabbed to death on Rosebud Street 6 days prior. The recent wave of violence sending shockwaves throughout the community.
Anytime one person is murdered or assaulted, 75 to 100 persons are affected. And in this community of about 4,000, to have 3 murders in a week or so is just traumatizing.
Leaving behind, according to community leaders, the palpable stench of fear.
Fear and persons saying that they are going to now more or less almost lock themselves in their home, stay in the home as they're going out.
It's why leaders are calling for community members along with the church to together take an active role, with the hope that at the end of the day, the violent wave will not prevail.
I believe that we could reverse this trend, because nobody wants this trend to become, we don't want this to be a normal thing. We want this to be something that ends here and that we can get back to being the community that we're known to be.
This latest incident marks the 78th homicide for the year. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Antoinette Smith.
Well, it's being touted as a management tool, and according to officials at the Bahamas Department of Corrections, the Grow Your Child program is working. Cleopatra Murphy explains.
It's an initiative aimed at breaking the cycle, intended to discourage children from repeating the actions of their inmate parents that landed them behind bars. The Grow Your Child program, launched in the women's prison on August 31st, allows parents separated from their children the opportunity to spend some otherwise lost time together. Just about a month and a half in, and Acting Commissioner of Corrections Dawn Clare says the success of the program is evident.
It's working extremely well, extremely well. Once we started to post the flyers on the compound that, only persons who behave themselves, don't take drugs, don't smuggle in phones, don't fight, so forth and so forth, you are the ones that will be selected to see your kids and to teach your kids the right and proper way to conduct themselves, going forward in life. But it's working extremely well.
Throughout the 6-month program, inmates have a chance to assist their children with homework, also participating in counseling, providing a chance to bond that Claire believes benefits all parties.
In the next 2 weeks, we're going to start moving into medium security. And that's where the bulk of the kids will come. So far, we have had over 314 kids applied to come to see their parents. Now, we don't know if we can manage it yet, but we may have to divide it into 2 portions. But again, kids are eager to see their parents.
Claire says the intent is to invite the Cuban ambassador to the ceremony once it is introduced in medium security to share that country's success, as Grow Your Child is modeled after a Cuban program. From there, it will be introduced in the remand center, then maximum security.
We want the parent, the father, to just installing these kids when they arrive. Do not be like me. Be better than me. Do not come to this place. Stay in school. Do your work. Be productive citizens. And that's what our goal is.
For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Cleopatra Murphy.
Another Bahamian man stuck in Israel as Israel retaliates with airstrikes after Hamas fighters from Gaza launched an assault on Israel Saturday, taking hostages and killing more than 1,000 people. Galena employee Howard Evans Jr. recently traveled to warring country on vacation, and now his mother, Donna Evans, says he's stuck after his returning British Airways flight was canceled. Further, her son, who's staying at Tel Aviv Hotel, may not be able to return home until October 30th. That's the date given for his rescheduled flight. The mother says her son is relatively safe, but both she and her family are concerned as they have limited contact with him. They're hoping to see Howard return home safely as fighting between Hamas fighters in Gaza and the Israel Defense Forces heats up. A month after month, consumers continue to feel what amounts to an electric shock at the sight of their power bills, with repeated calls and cries for some relief. Businesses, too, feeling it. In fact, they're applying heat on the energy minister for a cool down on cost. Corval Pyfrom has more.
Energy costs at their current rates and high demands are hurting businesses and consumers. Local hoteliers are especially feeling it, and so expect no letting up from them on their demands for reform. Here's President of the Bahamas Hotel Tourism Association, Robert Sands.
We want clean, reliable, affordable electricity. We're not there yet.
The summer months particularly brutal for customers facing high electricity cost, a fact not lost on new Energy Minister JoBeth Colby-Davis. While the minister hasn't laid out any specific timelines for when a reduction will happen, she does foreshadow hope on the horizon.
We're seeking to bring new fuel mixes in, so the less you burn, you can bring the cost down as well. And so that's a discussion, and then we're doing a tariff assessment as well. So we're seeking to have a lot of different contributing factors come together simultaneously so that it can help to bring the cost of electricity down.
Colby-Davis, a month into her new role, is acutely aware of the challenges ahead of her.
Focusing on getting as much research and information that I can so I could be better able to apply myself. And so having a number of meetings, speaking with some energy experts and also speaking with the experts at BPL. And so we're putting together a strategic plan. The rest of this year is going to be a lot of heavy lifting from myself, the board, and the executive of BPL so that we can really have a plan of action action that can see this transition to cleaner energy, but reliable and affordable energy as well.
For now, her plan is at least giving some optimism to those like Mr. Sands, though he underscores the need for urgency.
We are, however, encouraged by the government's commitment to renewables and to other forms of electricity, and also their commitment to bringing down the cost and ensuring more reliability. So we will continue to work with them to ensure that that happens sooner than later.
So there appears for now to be on all sides affordable light at the end of the tunnel. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corval Pyfrom.
Now, while BPL tries to work through high energy costs, there at least seems to be a bit of a cooling off in temperature between the company and its union. Last month, the union was even prepared to head to the picket line, frustrated, it says, by the company's failure to address a number of long-standing issues. All still not perfect, but Bahamas Electrical Workers Union President Kyle Wilson says for now, the parties appear to have struck the right chord.
Some of the issues are being addressed. As you remember, that we did have a walkabout with the minister, got first-hand view of some of the issues that the union was making complaints about. And so some of the issues are being addressed, and I've just recently spoke to the minister as much as today, and we're still organizing trips to the islands to see even more issues throughout the family islands, because we want to make sure their issues are addressed as well.
BPL CEO Siobhan Cambridge also pleased that staff morale is positive and hopes the two sides can work amicably through their issues.
We're coming off the end of our summer season, and we were able to get through. We've weathered it. We've weathered internal storms as well as literal storms, and I think, like I said in my speech earlier today, everything isn't all rosy, but we're a family, and we're working through our differences.
A busy few days for Prime Minister the Honourable Philip Davis, who, following Obi Wilchcombe's state funeral yesterday, left the capital for Rome, Italy, where he's expected to meet with His Holiness Pope Francis. The Pope will receive the Prime Minister in audience on Saturday. Following that meeting, Prime Minister Davis will meet with the Cardinal Secretary of State of the Holy See on the first loggia of the Apostolic Palace. On Sunday, he will travel to Ottawa, Canada for the Canada CARICOM Summit, scheduled for October 16th through 20th. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will chair the summit alongside the Prime Minister of Dominica, Roosevelt Skerritt, the current chair of CARICOM. Deputy Prime Minister, the Honourable Chester Cooper, will serve as acting Prime Minister until Davis's return on Friday, October 20th. Marcellus Hall joins us in studio with a check on what's coming up in sports. Marcellus?
Coming up in sports for this evening, the UB Mingos men's soccer team putting up a good effort. We'll tell you how the things went down just ahead in sports.
Sometimes life hints at your next step, sending you signs all around, even in unexpected places, to lead you in the right direction. The signs are clear. It's time to pay less for your current mortgage and switch to Scotiabank. Enjoy lower interest rates and no payments up to 2 months when you switch your mortgage to Scotiabank. Plus, we'll even pay your switch costs. Paying less gives you more when you switch to Scotiabank.
Health is the greatest gift. That's where we come in. Bahamas Medical and Surgical Supplies is a premier distributor of medical equipment, as well as medical and surgical consumables. Our engineers are always on hand, providing top care service that saves lives. We carry a wide selection of over-the-counter and prescription items, IV fluids, and other injections. Our products are state-of-the-art, and our entire team stays on top of cutting-edge technology. With more than 2 decades of dedicated service, Bahamas Medical and Surgical Supplies continues to be a trendsetter and innovator in healthcare. We have set ourselves apart by truly caring for our customers. We understand the intricacies of healthcare, and we produce spectacular results. We cherish our partnerships and nurture our friendships as we continue on our quest to help everyone maintain that wonderful gift of good health. Find us on 95th Terrace, Centerville, and now located in the Lucaya Shopping Center of Freeport, Grand Bahama.
Trouble, it might drag you down. If you get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. 'Cause I'm gonna make this place your home.
Introducing the Focal Smart Pass app that helps you to fuel up faster. Here's how it works. Download the app on the App Store or get it on Google Play and create your profile with payment details. Visit your nearest Shell station. Open the app, scan the pump's QR code, select your payment amount, and begin fueling. Say goodbye to cash and cards because the Focal Smart Pass offers secure and convenient payment options right at your fingertips. Download Focal Smart Pass now and fuel up faster today.
Regional experts sharing best practices to support the potential creation of the billion-dollar cannabis industry right here in the capital. And this as the consultation on proposed legislation continues. Our Lloyd Allen shares more coming out of last night's symposium.
As Caribbean Week of Agriculture continued on Thursday, a number of regional industry experts converging, sharing on details needed to fully establish a functional cannabis industry.
There's an industry that always existed, but now it's legalized.
Well, not quite. The Bahamas in recent months has increased its push toward legislation in support of industrializing marijuana. Now, according to panelists, the Honorable Saboto Caesar, Minister of Agriculture for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a comprehensive marijuana compendium legislation should cover a cross-section of areas.
We chose the path of following strictly the letter of the international legal framework, which was, and which still is, to make cannabis legal only for scientific research and for medicinal purposes.
Dania Ashpole and Vicky Hansen, both currently aiding in the enhancement in a similar effort, now underway in Jamaica.
I believe it's really important that social equity programs are contemplated.
It's about Geneva law versus the Vienna law. We now have to become a part of and carry on to debate and look at this industry in its form as it's developed through the Caribbean.
Some attendees, however, feel although there is conversation generating, further dialogue is needed to properly prepare growers to tap into this lucrative industry.
In the first draft, they said we must use it within the confinement of our tabernacle. We let them know that that's impossible.
The people who were persecuted when it was unfairly illegal are now the people who are going to continue to be persecuted.
We want to stand on our own, and we could do it by ourselves if there's a collaborative effort.
Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources, the Honorable Jomo Campbell, says the consultative process will continue before a final draft of the newly proposed legislation is presented to Parliament.
After everything that we have heard, and here today, we may actually have to go back to the drawing board because there appear to be a lot of excited cultivators in the making. And so it's definitely something that the government wants to address because we want to be supportive of the new industry.
Canada, Thailand, and Uruguay currently are the only three nations globally that have legalized cannabis across the country. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lloyd Allen.
It's the first time since the event started nearly a quarter of a century ago that the Bahamas hosted the week-long gathering for the Caribbean Week of Agriculture. Hosting the event just one more way the country hopes to demonstrate it's serious about being both a regional partner and leader in the agriculture sector. And as Corval Pyfrom reports, this may have been a good first step.
If there's one thing Agriculture Minister Jomo Campbell has gotten from this week's Caribbean Week of Agriculture, hosted right here in New Providence, is optimism.
Agriculture isn't just
a second guess or a second chance opportunity for persons who couldn't get into some other field. Agriculture has tremendous economic benefit. There's tremendous growth for job opportunities. And more importantly than that, these nations have shown us that they have been able to sustain themselves, reduce their import bill tremendously by doing it themselves.
Considered the premier event on the agriculture calendar in the region, Caribbean Week of Agriculture, or CWA, brought together agriculture ministers and delegates from some 21 countries in the region. Topics discussed included youth and women in agriculture, food safety, investment opportunities, climate change, among others. Minister Campbell, who spoke to reporters ahead of tonight's closing, says there's a lot the Bahamas can do to improve the sector. He's hopeful about stronger collaboration with regional partners.
We here in the Ministry of Agriculture locally in the Bahamas thought it was important to start this conversation with our regional partners. Regionally, the Caribbean would make up 8% of the world's population. And if we tackle our food crisis issues as a collective, we would get much further ahead.
While it has been a week jam-packed with high-level meetings and closed-door sessions, local and visiting vendors from participating states have had the perfect venue to not only display, but also sell some of their locally produced goods. We even found Jade Sands with Island Manor Farm Store and Island Foodology stirring up quite the buzz at her booth.
Okay, so this is just to showcase this for people to see what the bees do.
What's this experience been like?
It's awesome. I mean, I feel like I get to travel throughout the entire Caribbean without having to leave Nassau.
Overall, the minister calls the Bahamas' first hosting of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture a success, and he says that he looks forward to more exchanging of ideas with member states and meaningful steps towards accomplishing some of the objectives. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Corbell Pfeiffer.
She certainly doesn't look the part, but cancer warrior Therese McKenzie refuses to let her diagnosis get her down. Instead, pushes through her treatment and encourages those along the way. Jiminita Swain shares her story in this next report.
A little more than a year ago, Therese McKenzie says she was diagnosed with breast cancer.
It was in July when I felt this lump in my right breast. I immediately called my doctor's office that night. I called the administrator, told her what was happening, and she said to come in and see Doc tomorrow.
The cancer was confirmed. McKenzie says the news was relayed to family and friends.
My first 4 days, I was in denial, and I stayed in bed, kind of down and crying and whatnot. And on the 5th morning, I woke up that Friday morning, and I said, "Devil, you are not going to do this to me."
Still, from then to now, she's often asked this question.
"You sure you have cancer? How could you have cancer and you look so good and you sound so good?" I say, "Okay, so how are I supposed to look and how am I supposed to sound? Is someone with cancer supposed to look bad or sound like they're dying?" I said, "There's nothing wrong with me."
The cancer, though, has spread.
I had to go to Florida to do a bone scan up in Aventura, and those little inconsistencies showed where I have fragments through my bone. I don't have bone cancer because it didn't start in the bone, it started in the breast. But it's been contained with the medication I'm on. I'm on 3 different types of medication.
The floral designer says the bone medication she will take for life. But in spite of what she's up against, she often has a word of encouragement.
People out there who have cancer, who have breast cancer or any cancer, it is so important to surround yourself with positive people. You need to have positive people. When these people come into you talking about who dead and who this and that, you need to cut them off or tell them, "Hey, I don't want to hear that."
Decked in her pink from head to toe, McKenzie considers the disease just a minor setback. often sharing pink paraphernalia with everyone she meets. And happy to still have a full head of hair, she is equally grateful for the medical team she has behind her.
People talk so badly about Princess Margaret Hospital. Well, my dear, I had the opposite experience. From the minute I put my foot out of my car, the first foot, I was greeted. Then I put the next foot out, I was double greeted.
Now, even though she is continuing her fight, Ms. McKenzie says every Monday in the month of October, she donates flowers to the Princess Margaret Hospital's Oncology Department. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Jimenita Swain.
Oh, great story there, Jimmy. Well, gone are the days when only women in their mid-40s to 60s are diagnosed with breast cancer. Nowadays, it seems more and more younger women are stricken with it. In this next report, LaDawn Davis tells us about a woman in her early 30s with a long family history of the disease.
My 2-year-old son actually found my lump. He stopped breastfeeding in March of this year, but he still rubs them for comfort to go to sleep. And while he was doing that, he touched it.
Feeling a lump and it showing up cancerous is all too familiar for Kashana Reckley, as her mother, grandmother, aunts, and a few of her cousins have all walked a similar road. Unfortunately, many of them are not here to share their story. Kashana, now 31, says she's taking her stage 3 breast cancer verdict seriously and is putting up a good fight.
When I found out, it wasn't so much scary because we've dealt with it so often in my family, and I feel like we dealt with it very quickly. Like I said, we found the lump, that was the holiday weekend, Independence. Got the results on the 21st, and I have already started chemotherapy. I haven't been tired, no vomiting, I still carry on with my regular daily routine as I should. I have another round tomorrow, and for myself, I haven't been back to do another scan as yet, but I still feel my breast daily, and I've only had 2 treatments so far, and I literally have to look for the lump now, so I am very positive that my treatments are going very well.
Still in her childbearing years, Kashana says she's made a conscious decision to remove her reproductive organs so that the cancer does not have a fighting chance.
I'm going to do the double mastectomy. I'm removing my wombs and my ovaries. Dr. Turnquist advised me, he said the type of cancer that I have, he said I pretty much got the worst stick ever. Young black woman, triple negative cancer, genetic history. He says if it comes back, it ain't nothing that's gonna fight that off. So I'm just getting rid of everything.
Chemotherapy treatments to fight off cancer cells are expensive. So too, the cost of healthy foods. Kashana says her family pulled off a cookout a week ago to help defray those bills.
I might be slim, I think that's just in my gene code, but I did have a horrible diet and a horrible work life before discovering I have cancer. So it might be expensive, it might be costly to eat healthy, but I think that's one of the major issues that we have here in the Bahamas. So it not only comes from the food, it's just your way of life, your way of living as well.
Kashana is advising women regardless of their age to conduct self-breast examinations and to take full advantage of free mammogram screenings this October. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm LaDawn Davis.
World travel on the bucket list for many people, but one man professes to have seen already more than 50% of the world. And with those travels came art and many pictures. And while he could just admire them himself, he's opted to open a local museum and share it with the world. Jimenita Swain tells us more.
146 pieces of art in the form of photographs and paintings are exhibited in the Bahamas and World Art and Bell Museum on Market and Cameron Streets. Gregory Ambrista, the curator, shares how it all came together.
The first painting that I bought was in 1973 in Haiti. I went to Haiti on a trip, and I saw this painting. As a matter of fact, this particular one here, that lady, the Haitian lady, and I bought it. And then I decided I would put this museum together.
Ambrister says each time he traveled, his collection expanded, and from all around the world.
When I was a young boy in St. Anne's School, and my literature teacher was Winston Sanders, and I think I actually developed a very keen interest in literature from that particular point in time. And that has taken me to many of these places. I remember reading about places like Angkor Wat. Angkor Wat, which is in Siam Reap. Angkor Wat the word Angkor means city of temples.
And each piece tells a story.
That is the temple of Zelos. Zelos was built, and actually it's in what is now, it was actually in Asia Minor, which would be Turkey now. And it was built by Zelos' son. And Zelos was in fact a governor of Asia Minor, and he was a very prominent person. He is actually buried in the mausoleum of the library. But the Library of Zelos at one point in time was probably the second largest temple, second largest library in the world.
Add to the mix an interest in bells.
Places like Indonesia, from Bali, from Jerusalem, Cambodia, and the list goes on. I think there may be at least 80 or more bells that are contained in the showcase at the moment.
And for Brister, here's why you should visit.
Experience the thrills and the delights that I've had of looking at art, reading about it, and owning it.
The facility is open Monday to Friday. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Jumanita Swain.
In case you missed the news or want to stay ahead, subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on X, TikTok, Instagram, or Facebook.
What's a Sand Dollar rebate? It's the digital Bahamian dollar back in your wallet. Top up any Sand Dollar enabled digital wallet and make a purchase of $50 or more in Sand Dollars at Super Value, Quality Supermarkets, Solomon's Fresh Market, or Sawyer's Fresh Market. Get up to $25 back when you redeem your rebate online between September 15th and October 15th at sanddollar.bs/rebate. Rules and restrictions apply.
On May 1st, 2012, Rubis acquired the Chevron fuel business in the Bahamas, which traded under the Texaco brand. We are now celebrating our 10th anniversary of the Rubis brand in the Bahamas. Rubis has become the fuel brand of choice. However, our 10-year journey was not without challenges. We would like to recognize our dedicated members of staff and thank our customers for their continued support. We look forward to another 10-year milestone as we continue our journey.
Have you ever purchased a defective item and was denied an exchange or cash refund? Contact the Consumer Protection Commission at 393-7795-8 or our 24-hour complaints hotline at 357-7898 and let us help your voice be heard.
Hey, get up, stand up for your life.
Lutherans heard a bit more about Cotton Bay's high-end resort on that island during a recent consultation meeting. Attendees heard from Cotton Bay's project director, Daniel Zalita, who gave an overview of the project, which calls for an open-air, ultra-luxury resort featuring a 90-room Ritz-Carlton Reserve hotel, residences, and an 18-hole championship golf course. Zalita also outlined the $200 million project's three-phased approach, beginning with a 5-month road construction and development phase, followed by a 2-year project construction period scheduled to end by January 2026. The project's scope lends to 300 direct employment opportunities during the 24-month construction phase, with estimated wages exceeding $8 million annually. Once operational, the project anticipates sustaining over 200 direct employment opportunities. Those with comments or queries about the project can submit to the director in writing at the CEC at depp.gov.bs and to the developer's environmentalist of record at info@cottonbayholdings.com. Well, it's time now for a check on Family Island weather with Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, Makishla. We have partly cloudy skies, temperature 85.
85 degrees, the relative humidity at 77%, westerly winds at 5 miles per hour, the barometric pressure 1,010.9 millibars, that's 29.85 inches. And your temperatures around the Family Violence this evening, they are brought to you by Family Guardian Insurance Company. We're protecting you. 81 degrees in Freeport, Grand Bahama, Green Tool Key, and Marshall, Babaco, the Berry Islands, 85, Isle Sound, Bimini, also 85 degrees, 85 again in Harbor Island and Roxanne, Eleuthera, Black Point, Exuma, Kemp's Bay, Andros, and Fresh Creek and Central Andros at 86 degrees. Hartstown, Cat Island, San Salvador, Rumkey, and Georgetown, Exuma, 85. 85s in Ragged Island, Cloudstown, Long Island, Crooked Island, Betsy Bay, Magona, and Acklands, Matthew-Town, Unigo, 86. And the Turks and Caicos Islands at 88 degrees. And your boating forecast tonight is brought to you by Builders Mall, home of FYP, the Tile King, and the Paint Setter. In the Northwestern Islands tonight through Sunday, southwest to west winds 10 to 15 knots, wave heights 2 to 4 feet. High tide will occur at 7:51 this evening, with another high tide at 8:12 tomorrow morning. Now for the central and southeastern islands, also through Sunday, light and variable winds with flat seas 1 to 3 feet. That's going to do it for your boating forecast. It's time now for your international temperatures, and they are brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. And that's going to do it for your international temperatures, brought to you by Royal Star Assurance. But stay tuned, your extended weather forecast is still ahead.
For hurricane season, we got impact windows and doors. For protection, just come to our store. Plus we got tiles to pretty up your walls and your floors. We'll help you brighten up for that big bad storm. Porcelain tiles, blank tiles, mosaic tiles, a variety of styles. Big 14s get right, they gotta be rough. That's why we got the best deals in the whole Bahamas. Hey, hey.
Join up for life insurance. Secure the ones that you love. Join up with Family Guardian. We offer full protection. Join the family. Join the family. Family Guardian. Protect the ones you love. A brand that you can trust. Family Guardian.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
Welcome to your ZNS Total Sports Check on a Friday, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Starting us off, some soccer news as the University of the Bahamas men's soccer team took on Atlantis University, part of a two-game tour. Now, the Mingos started the match off very aggressive on Thursday, and Atlantis not able to respond. Mingos, they were able to hold off several strong strikes from Atlantis, but kept things scoreless at the end of the first half. The second half, Mingos losing a player to a red card for an aggressive tackle, but would remain unfazed. They were able to hold the match at 0-0 until the second half water break. At this juncture, one of the Atlantis players hit with a double yellow card, which resulted in a red card and an ejection there. Mingos hold off Atlantis attacks and hold on for the tie. Final score 0-0.
I thought we demonstrated a lot of heart today. We had an unfortunate red card in the first half, and we played down a man for about 30 minutes. They then went down a man, so it was 10v10 for the last 15. The boys executed the game plan really well, especially on the defensive side. I thought Yvel Drumis, Joshua Johnson, and Ronaldo Green were all fantastic. And the goal now is to work towards tomorrow and pick up a win.
Commonwealth Brewery, Bahamas Basketball Federation officials, and the Mount Moriah community gathered on Wednesday past for the unveiling of the newly revitalized Tom the Bird Grant Sporting Complex. Thanks to Hennessy's In the Paint initiative, Hennessy and the NBA teaming up to give back to society by revitalizing basketball courts that serve as vital community spaces globally. President for Latin America and Caribbean, Moet Hennessy Nichols Gardner, explained the initiative's intent.
In the Paint is as well, as I said, a blend between art and culture, giving the opportunity to talents to give their best shots. It's as well about giving back and giving back to communities. Last but not least, about In the Paint program, it is about the spirit of conquest. Spirit of conquest that is a value very close to the Hennessy Maison and very close to its founder, Richard Hennessy.
Selected because of its iconic location in Yellow Elder and in need of repairs, mural artist Stephen Davis was thankful for the opportunity to paint the court surface. Representing the government, Mount Moriah Member of Parliament Mikhail Barnaby, he underscored the importance of sports in community building.
First, I'd like to thank God for this, because I don't know how in the world I did this in 1 week. I'd like to thank Hennessy for considering me for this project. It's the first of its kind for me. I've never done anything like this before. And, you know, I had a lot of nightmares, you know, coming up with a concept and just everything, man. I just had a lot of nightmares about it, but it came through.
Also in attendance was In the Paint ambassador, former NBA player and philanthropist Joakim Noah. The New Providence Softball Association announced that they will indeed kick off their season this weekend with 2 games on the Saturday evening schedule at the Bankers Field. 7 o'clock, we'll see the Black Scorpions taking on the UB Mingos in ladies play. That'll be followed by a men's game between the Cybertech Blue Marlins as they go up against the Chances Mighty Mitts. Now, the New Providence Volleyball Association also will start off their season this weekend with games set for Sunday at the Donald Davis Gym. Ladies will open at 3:30 with the Lady Panthers versus the Lady Techs. Men's play at 5 with the Defenders going up against the Warhawks. And that's it, your Friday evening check on sports. Don't go anywhere. We do have that final Friday weather coming up right after this.
This is ZNS Total Sports.
On May 1st, 2012, Rubis acquired the Chevron fuel business in the Bahamas, which traded under the Texaco brand. We are now celebrating our 10th anniversary of the Rubis brand in the Bahamas. Rubis has become the fuel brand of choice. However, our 10-year journey was not without challenges. We would like to recognize our dedicated members of staff and thank our customers for their continued support. We look forward to another 10-year milestone as we continue our journey.
First we plan, then we innovate, then we build. At Bahama Striping Group of Companies, we are committed to quality, to safety, and to service. We know that the road you take is just as important as your final destination. At Bahama Striping Group of Companies, it is our job to make sure the road and the ride are as smooth as possible. From striping roads to building them, we are the right choice, the trusted choice, the only choice to help you build your tomorrow.
I'm Kim, an all-around busy person, but I'm also a foodie. Bahamian food is a delightful fusion of flavors and techniques passed down and over time has evolved into unique and delicious meals. It takes simple ingredients and it turns into something special. So if you're a foodie like me and don't like spending all day in the kitchen, but want great food, fast, simple, and tasty, then join me as we dish it up.
You're not going to do very well in this court if you keep cutting me off.
I've already paid him $500, and I noticed we haven't spoken about the $500 that I paid him. I did not receive any of my money.
I didn't know her like that.
I ask the question and then you answer.
But I spent
and
that on my car.
Mr. Rowe, that is the order.
I joined an ASU that was led by Mr. Wilkinson. At the end of it, I would have received $5,000. However, I did not receive any of my money.
You would understand the importance of a wedding day for a bride.
Well, I've never been a bride.
The decision is legally binding.
All right.
Time now for weather.
In our final look at weather, tropical storm Sean, just over 1,200 miles to the west of the Cape Verde Islands, moving west-northwest at 12 miles per hour, maximum sustained at 40 miles per hour, but we expect some weakening over the next couple of days, and Sean could become a tropical depression as early as tomorrow. And then over in the far eastern Atlantic, we have a strong tropical wave just to the south of the Cape Verde Islands that has about a 30% chance of development at the moment, but we'll bump that up to about 80% over the next 24 to 48 hours as it moves towards the west. Closer to home, frontal boundaries smack across Grand Bahama and the Abacos that will continue to fire pockets of showers and thunderstorms, some of which will be heavy at times. That front will eventually sink towards the south and should push through the capital sometime late Sunday, early Monday, and behind that, you can expect a nice little cool down to take place. Tonight, we're looking at overcast conditions, warm and humid, with your low temperature around 79 degrees, and tomorrow, mostly cloudy and humid, a couple of showers, particularly in the afternoon, high temperature 90 degrees, extended weather forecast shaping up like this. Showers in the forecast right through Sunday, but once we push that front through late Sunday going into Monday, things will dry out quite nicely, and we will see the sun come out nice and bright on Tuesday of next week. Makisla.
Well, thanks, Basil. And before we leave, we'd like to wish a very happy birthday to our general manager, Clint Watson. And that does it for the Bahamas tonight. Thank you for continuing to make ZNS your first choice for news and information. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. From all of us here at ZNS, thank you for watching and good night.
Health officials announced early on that the curve of the fourth wave has been flat.
Standby talent. 2 and cue.
We have a dynamic team of